So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2024 New Jersey State Golf Association Hall of Fame Gala, as we honor four people who have made a lasting impact not only on this great game, but on our wonderful state. My name is Matt Laughlin, and it is a distinct pleasure for me to be the MC tonight. When I was asked to fill this role, the answer was a resounding yes, with one small caveat. As the radio play-by-play announcer for the New Jersey Devils, I had to wait to see if the team would make the playoffs and whether or not they would be playing on May 1st. If you follow the team, you know they didn't make the playoffs. We're not playing on May 1st, but I am as excited as can be to be here tonight to be a part of this special evening. I am grateful to have worked with the NJSGA on some of their major championship events, producing with my good friend Steve Titchener videos of the Open, the Men's Amateur, the Women's Amateur Championships. I've had the pleasure to work with Kevin Purcell, the Executive Director of the State Association, and his incredible staff, who are dedicated servants to the game and to New Jersey. And it's been my pleasure to meet the wonderful volunteers who give so much of their time to enable the NJSGA to conduct a multitude of championship events, qualifiers, member days, educational forums, and more. That makes this state second to none in what they produce. I'm a big fan of New Jersey. Remember when Governor Kane said, "Jersey and you perfect together"? Well, he was right. It was a great slogan, but I think I've come up with something that might be just a little better. Jersey, you don't get it. Why are we always defending New Jersey? I mean, what don't we have? From the seashore to the towering topography of the Northwest, from our famously productive farmlands. Who hasn't had a Jersey tomato or cranberries from the Pinelands or those delicious blueberries which will be coming out shortly? We have great educational institutions and research facilities. New Jersey has it all. Now, we may argue pork roll versus Taylor ham. We may say hoagies in some part of the state versus subs in another. And where the heck is Central Jersey, I don't really know. But it's all part of our DNA, and it makes us us. And naturally, we're blessed with some of the most iconic golf venues in the world. Tonight's gala taking place at one of them here at Baltusrol Golf Club. We've produced champions on the PGA and LPGA tours. There's a talented group who are now making their name on those tours. Max Grazerman tied for fourth in the Zurich Classic over the weekend down in New Orleans with his partner Patrick Fishburne. We have a place for the scratch player, the high handicapper, you're looking at one, private and public courses galore, and they are among the jewels of the sport. And tonight we honor four people who have played an integral role in making New Jersey golf the beacon that it is. If your mark on the game brings you to the very top of that New Jersey golf pyramid, which is made up of truly remarkable people who have played, worked, taught, and administered the game to great acclaim, then you have earned your rightful place in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame means forever. And forever will these four new enshrinees be remembered. So at this time, I'd like to bring up to the podium to say a few words and ask you to please welcome Rod McRae, the president of the NJSGA Board of Trustees. Rod?
Thank you, everyone. On behalf of the New Jersey State Golf Association, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to Baltusrol Golf Club for our Hall of Fame induction ceremony. What a special night to celebrate. Next year in 2025, the New Jersey State Golf Association will celebrate our 125th year, or Quasquisquicentennial anniversary. I'd like to thank Google for an assist on that. Not only the words, but there was a video that gave me a pronunciation, and I probably messed it up. 125 years of serving golfers and our member clubs in the wonderful state of New Jersey. Over that time, a small group of individuals have distinguished themselves for furthering the game of golf in New Jersey. They have contributed to the rich history of the game and the tradition of golf in our state. The New Jersey State Golf Association Hall of Fame was created to recognize those individuals who have made outstanding contributions to the game of golf in New Jersey and have helped bring recognition, honor, distinction, and excellence to New Jersey golf. Tonight, we have 4 esteemed individuals to that elite group that comprises our Hall of Fame. Helen Hockenjos, Chester Red Wender, Dot Pollock, and the man who taught me to swing a golf club, Bob Ross. I also want to take a moment to thank some of our special VIPs who have helped this organization immensely over the years. Several New Jersey State Golf Association past presidents, Mr. Bill Freeze, Eric Houseknecht, Jeff Liebler, Mike McFadden, Dan Meehan, Frank O'Brien, and Tom Pollock. I'd also like to welcome our former New Jersey State Golf Association Executive Director Steve Fail, PGA Executive Director Chris Bauer, Golf Course Superintendent Association of New Jersey President Donovan McGuigan, Maureen Sharples, Executive Director of the Golf Course Superintendents Association of New Jersey, as well as the USGA Northeast Regional Affairs Director, Aaron Gronenfeld. I want to thank everyone for joining us what promises to be a special evening. I would now like to introduce New Jersey State Golf Association Vice President and Hall of Fame Committee member David Kronheim to discuss the nomination criteria and process. David?
Good evening. As Rod said, my name is David Kronheim, and I have the honor of being the Vice President of the New Jersey State Golf Association and the Chairman of the Hall of Fame Committee. Rod gives me the exciting assignment of, as the lawyer on the board, of reading the criteria for induction. So I'll try not to bore you, and we'll keep it very brief. But firstly, I'd like to emphasize this is a process that is driven by you. It's driven by the public. The nominating committee receives dozens of nominations from the public each year, and I can tell you we actually do discuss each and every one of them. Some for a greater period of time than others, of course, but I encourage everyone to be part of the process, and if you know someone that you think is a worthy individual, worthy of induction in our Hall of Fame, please take the time and nominate them. Every inductee starts as a nominee. After reviewing those nominations, the nominating committee passes off to the Hall of Fame committee at large those nominations, and the committee decides whether a nominee meets the following criteria for induction, and does so by a supermajority. It's a high standard. Those criteria are that an inductee, and it's a two-pronged test. The inductee must have, 1, made an extraordinary and remarkable contribution to or impact on the game of golf in the state of New Jersey as a player, whether professional or amateur, club professional, superintendent, architect, golf industry participant, or other person involved in the game in the state of New Jersey. And of course, they have to be a New Jerseyan. They have to possess a strong connection to the state of New Jersey by virtue of being a New Jersey resident for at least 10 years at any time, a New Jersey resident during their period of accomplishment, a member and employee of a New Jersey golf club during that period of accomplishment, or in possession of other unique criteria that unique and substantial connections to the state of New Jersey. So with that, I will stop boring you with the criteria and pass it back off to someone a lot more interesting. Thanks a lot.
David and Rod, thank you so very much. Before we honor our 4 inductees, I'd like you to direct your attention to the video screens on either side of the dais for the history of the NJSGA Hall of Fame.
The New Jersey State Golf Association Hall of Fame is dedicated to the history and preservation of the game. First established in 2018, the Hall of Fame has inducted famed players, golf administrators, superintendents, architects, and others who have made a unique and lasting impact on the game of golf in our state. With over 120 years of history, the NJSGA Hall of Fame has had no shortage of phenomenal nominees and inductees. Whether it's a 6-time New Jersey amateur champion, a standout teaching professional, or an esteemed golf course architect, the Hall of Fame is filled with those that have altered the landscape of the game that we are also passionate about. Each year, we reflect on these outstanding individuals and their contributions to New Jersey golf. The celebration of legends and their moments that remind us why we fell in love with this game and continue to define this sport. The inaugural class, packed with talent, is made up of Carolyn Cudone, Dr. Ralph Engel, Johnny Farrell, Vic Gezzi, Charlotte Gluting, Arthur Red Hoffman, Robert Housen, Nestor McDonald, Byron Nelson, Maureen Orcutt, Chester Chetsanik, John Shippen, Jerome Travers, A.W. Tillinghast, and Charles Whitehead. Year by year, the NJSGA is proud to welcome new inductees into its Hall of Fame, a tradition that celebrates history on and off the course.
The roll call of names, phenomenal, not only in New Jersey, but the role that they played nationally and internationally, which tells you what the state of golf in the Garden State is all about. And now it is my honor to present our 4 honorees who will join that previous group. Our first member of the class of 2024 is being honored posthumously. It is safe to say that without the dedication of Helen Hockenjoss, the game in general, but the women's game in particular, would not nearly be as robust.
A trailblazer for women's golf, the late Helen Hockenjoss was one of the preeminent female amateur players of the mid-1900s. Compiling an extraordinary resume, Hockenjoss most notably claimed the New Jersey Women's Amateur Championship 4 times, winning in 1936, 39, 48, and 52. In 1937, 40, 42, and 49, she finished as runner-up. In addition, Hockenjoss also captured the Women's Metropolitan Golf Association Short Championship twice, in 1936 and again in 1939. She closed out her competitive prowess in 1956, winning the NJSGA Women's Senior Championship. A member of Lake Apacon Golf Club, Crestmont Country Club, and Baltusrol Golf Club, Hockenjoss was a key contributor to golf in New Jersey. A founding member of the Garden State Women's Golf Association, Hockenjoss was also very involved with the Women's Metropolitan Golf Association. She served as tournament chair and president at a pivotal time, with events at an indefinite halt due to World War II. Hockenjoss successfully led the charge to restore the women's tournament scene in the metropolitan area after the war concluded.
Accepting the award on Helen's behalf is NJSGA President Rod McRae. The second member of the class of 2024 is also being honored posthumously. Over the course of 42 years, spanning 5 decades, Chester Red Wender made sure his course, Plainfield Country Club, was in immaculate condition. Here's a brief video detailing Red's many contributions to the game.
The late Chester Red Wender served as the golf course superintendent of Plainfield Country Club for over 4 decades. From 1952 to 1994, Wender established and maintained a standard of excellence and innovation, and meanwhile, helped lay the groundwork for many superintendents in the industry. An esteemed part of the Plainfield Country Club community, Wender held the honor and was responsible for helping showcase the club's beauty on a national stage. In his role as superintendent, he led preparations for more than a dozen local, regional, and national championships, including the 1978 U.S. Men's Amateur Championship, the 1987 U.S. Women's Open Championship. Wender mentored many of his assistants who then went on to have successful careers of their own right at other clubs in the Garden State. Always looking for ways to improve his craft, Wender was known throughout the region for developing best practices, a knack for innovation and willingness to share his knowledge. he cultivated relationships across the industry with construction firms, turfgrass companies, and the nearby Rutgers University Turf Management Program to ensure that Plainfield was among the first clubs to benefit from new research into mowers, grass, pesticides, and herbicides. Wender made it clear to his staff that his standard was to always maintain the course at tournament-level quality. This extended to Plainfield's sister course, the public West 9, which was also Wender's responsibility, and later the nearby Colonia Country Club, where Wender served as green superintendent for 3 years after leaving Plainfield. For his extraordinary career and achievements, Wender holds the distinction as the first golf course superintendent elected to the New Jersey State Golf Association Hall of Fame.
Please give a warm welcome to some of Red's relatives who have joined us this evening. Thank you very much for joining us on this very special night. And please welcome Red's daughter, Celeste Zalesnik, who is accepting the award on Red's behalf.
This is so awesome from my father. I just want to say a couple words. From a young age, I can remember how dedicated my father was to his work. He left very early in the morning every day, and I didn't quite understand what he was doing each day, but I can vividly remember what a beautiful place the course was when we would all hop into the car after dinner because we'd have to go over there to adjust the sprinklers because it was going to rain. And I just remember how big and green and beautiful it was. It was just amazing. Hard work, dedication, honesty, perfection. These are the words that best describe my father. As you know, he was the superintendent from 1952 to 1994. And he told me once during his interview to work there, the board had said to him, you know, he's 25 years old. We're taking a big chance on you. And he said, well, it goes both ways. He wasn't one to mince words. My brother, Paul, had asked him what the shape of the course was when he first got there. And again, my father was very honest and said it was a cow pasture. He spent 42 years at Plainfield Country Club and took great pride in the maintenance of the course and was very humble when he was complimented on it. As you know, he groomed the course for the 78 amateur, and he also for the 87 Women's Open. And as stated, he didn't limit his expertise at Plainfield Country Club. He consulted at other area courses and shared his knowledge with those that sought it out. And after leaving Plainfield, he spent 3 years at Colonia, very satisfied years, and then he retired at the age of 70. I can remember many times as a child, my parents discussing opportunities for my father to work at other courses. In the mid-70s, the Augusta National had approached him, and then in the 80s, Pine Valley. And all these opportunities sounded so exciting, but my mother was always the voice of reason that said, no, we're not going. My father was a very accomplished man in his field. His hard work and dedication were the groundwork that led us here today to honor him. I'd like to thank a few people that made that honor possible for my father. Kevin Casey, author of New Jersey Golf. Kevin, without your help, we would not be here today. I'd also like to thank Brett Price, Dick Milligan, Ben Teresco, Greg James, Billy Ziobrio, Frank O'Brien, and Lance Rogers, who was his assistant at Colonia. I'd also like to thank Jim Gilligan. He was my father's assistant in the early years, as well as the babysitter the night I was born. On behalf of my father and my family, I'm happy to accept this award and thank the New Jersey State Golf Association for recognizing my father's contribution to the game of golf. His birthday is May 14th, and I can't think of a better gift. Thank you.
Thank you for those warming comments, Celeste. You hit it out of the park. We are honored to have our third inductee with us this evening. The third member of the class of 2024 is Dot Pollock. I mentioned earlier the countless volunteers who devote countless hours to improve this game. No one epitomizes that more than our newest Hall of Famer. Here's a brief synopsis of the enormous contributions of Dot Pollock.
Dot Pollock is the epitome of a tireless volunteer. A well-known and highly regarded volunteer for the USGA, NJSGA, and WMGA, Pollock has undoubtedly made a difference to grow the game on various levels for several decades. Beginning with her service on the WMGA board in 1979, Pollock served the organization for many years, providing a wealth of expertise and knowledge. She spent nearly 2 decades on the USGA Women's Committee, which she would eventually chair and vice chair. She also served on the USGA Regional Associations and Regional Affairs Committees. As a member of those committees, Pollock held roles during the 1980 U.S. Open at Baltusrol Golf Club and the 1990 Curtis Cup at Somerset Hills Country Club. Locally, Pollock held the role of president of the Women's Metropolitan Golf Association from 1997 to 1998. She also served as an expert course rater and was the chair of the New Jersey State Golf Association Women's Committee, which merged with the NJSGA in 2008. She is also a former golf commissioner for the Somerset County Park Commission and was a key contributor to the development of Neshannock Valley Golf Course, which hosted the 2012 U.S. Women's Public Links Championship. The list of Pollock's accolades are plentiful and wide-ranging. She was bestowed the WMGA's highest honor, the Judy Bell Award, in 2005 for her exemplary contributions to the game. In 2010, alongside her husband Tom, the Pollocks were honored with the NJPGA and NJSGA Distinguished Service Award. In 2021, Pollock was honored with the USGA's Ike Granger Award in recognition of 25-plus years of service to the organization.
Enormous contributions indeed. We are so happy tonight that Dot can be joined by a number of her friends and family members. And here to introduce our third inductee is Dot's friend, Bridget Lamb.
Good evening. Thanks to President Matt Wirths, the board, and the staff of Baltusrol for allowing us to come to this lovely venue. Thanks also to President Rod McRae, the New Jersey State Board, and the terrific staff led by Kevin Purcell, and a Dot favorite, Mike McEnany. This association has a wonderful cadre of volunteers, many of whom Dot and I have been privileged to work with. To all the nominated inductees, but especially to the 2 here tonight, congratulations. From early on, the Rosses, Bob and his beloved Dolores, and now Janet, and the Pollocks, Dot and Tom, were and are dear, dear friends. So I know being honored together with Bob makes this evening particularly special for Dot. And it certainly is nice to have Cindy Farrow back in the great state of New Jersey. Dot Pollock, without question, belongs in the New Jersey State Hall of Fame. Dot has served golf selflessly for years. Judy Bell remarked after reading the great article by Rebecca Corzo in the New Jersey State's most recent magazine, quote, Dot Pollock should have been the first president of the USGA instead of me. Like Judy Bell, Dot was a fine golfer. She won the Ladies Club Championship at Rock Spring 8 times. She also won it here at Baltusrol in 1978 and 81, devoting time in 1980 to co-chair the large junior committee for the U.S. Open here. Dot also began course rating in 1980. She was renowned as the all-weather course rater and charmed many a superintendent thus getting the yardages that she and her team needed in advance to complete the ratings with accuracy and speed. Her speed and her smile are two characteristics most often associated with Dot. She has a unique ability to charm. To accomplish as much as she did, she would sometimes run a bit late. There was one famous incident when she was picked up with no license, but gave the copper a smile, an apology, and the license number that she had memorized. Incredulous, he returned to his patrol car and ran the number she gave him, which of course was correct. And of course, he was so impressed, she got off. While continuing with course rating, Dot became president, as you've heard, of every association she ever served in the game, including the Women's Met, the Garden State Women's, New Jersey State's Women's Committee, and culminating in becoming chairman of the Women's Committee in 2013 and 14. Dot was very active in regional affairs. She and I traveled to Houston to give a presentation to a conference for golf associations, and she had the delight of a lifetime when our driver went through their Easy Pass system at 80 miles an hour. Far different from the New Jersey Easy Pass experience, stop and then maybe go. Dot also chaired the National Women's State Team Championship and Women's Amateur Pub Links. If you head up a national championship run by the USGA, you were considered at the top of your game. Dot was an expert, and she was tutored by some of the best, like Steve Fail and Ann Beard. To quote Ann's daughter, Kendra Beard Graham, a member of the USGA Executive Committee and co-chair of the Rules of Golf Committee, Dot was methodical, dependable, capable, and oh so knowledgeable. She knows how to handle any situation and works through issues with such grace, a twinkle in her eye and a smile on her face. The nickname the caddies at Somerset Hills Country Club have for her is Laugh a Lot Dot. Her wonderful grandson Thomas, I think, is going to caddy this summer at Somerset Hills. Please don't tell anyone, Thomas, or Connor Mulcahy, our wonderful pro who is here tonight, that someone in the caddy yard divulged this sacrosanct information. Speaking of Somerset Hills, Dot won the Ladies Club Championship in 1983. No small feat if last year's Hall of Fame inductee Ann Probert was in the field. Dot helped Ann and Ted run the Curtis Cup while we all cheered for our locally beloved team member Karen Noble, golf pro extraordinaire now at Fairmount. Dot was a very valuable member of the Somerset Hills Country Club Green Committee for years. She was on the Bernardsville Town Council for 5 years and served on the planning board in Bernardsville for an astounding 20 years. She is also a gifted horticulturist. These endeavors benefited our club so much. As Jim Brady, a fellow member of the Somerset Green Committee, said, her service was instrumental in reformatting the committee itself and undertaking the renovation of this Tillinghast gem. Our terrific Somerset Hills Superintendent Ryan Tuxhorn added, she was critical in teaching me and advising me how to comply with and gain municipal support and approvals for ongoing work on the course. She was so knowledgeable and her manner was always upbeat and pleasant. Dot likewise lent her considerable agronomic talents to the Somerset County Park Commission. Thanks to her, 2 national championships were conducted there on her favorite course, Neshannock, the U.S. Girls and the Women's Amateur Pub Links. While serving others in the game, she traveled extensively. With her son Doug, now the assistant super at Beaverbrook, they explored nearly every state in the Union. She was decidedly not a hover or helicopter parent. Doug was allowed to buy a shotgun for $40 he spied in a gas station in Missouri. On a Navajo reservation, she insisted her teenager take the wheel and speed along just as he had witnessed his mom do. He recounts she passed 15 cars on the Gaspé Peninsula at one time. Once he married, Jean also immediately became a beloved Pollock and traveled with Dot to wonderful cities on the weekends, like London. Dot's sense of adventure and inquisitiveness continued throughout her golf life. Dot married in 1962. Some of you may know Tom, a former president of this association, who, by the way, she met on a blind date on her second day at Michigan State. He encouraged her to explore the world and would even accompany her if he could get away, for instance, picking up a Volvo in Germany, driving it throughout Europe, and then shipping it home. Tom was her proud partner in life and service to the game, prompting New Jersey State in 2010, as you have heard, to honor them both with a Distinguished Service Award. Originator of the New Jersey Evans Scholarship Classic, they are also lifetime sustaining donors to the New Jersey State Caddy Scholarship Fund, generously giving not only of their time, but of their hard-earned dollars. In addition, their Bernardsville home is always open to many USGA volunteers and rules school attendees, eliminating some serious travel expenses for them. No place was too remote for Dot to travel, particularly if she were to add to her famous woven basket collection, or join an Earthwatch project, counting fish in Kenya, or birds, or turtles, or were they hammerheads in the Galapagos. She always carried Levi's and Nikes with her to barter, and would often leave her own clothes behind in poor areas of the world. In 2002, after officiating the World Amateur Team in Madagascar, off she went to Thailand and the Himalayas. Not out of her reach after officiating were Cambodia, Bolivia, Machu Picchu and Peru, or Mexico, Argentina. In Japan, she went exploring to remote areas on trains where no one spoke any English. In such areas, her shocking white coif was often a local marvel. Children like her grandies, Lauren and Thomas, who are here tonight, loved to explore with her. Lauren would often show up with Dot at a USGA championship, most anywhere in the USGA, as far away as Seattle, I recall. Exploring and studying nature was also of the utmost importance to Dot. She never, on our extensive walks with her beloved dogs, ever left a furry caterpillar on the road or a slithery snake, for that matter, to be squished. Her golden retrievers took us on many adventures. There was Ginger, Sandy, and Holly, on whom Doug learned to walk. Then Charlie and Dodger, who always carried at least 2 or 3 tennis balls in his mouth. Casey, who sadly died on us right in the middle of one of our walks in Jockey Hollow. Cody, and last but not least, the famous counter surfer and outlier, a chocolate lab named Riley. Dot also inspired us all to join in her adventures, whether to attend rules school taught by Kendra in San Francisco and experience the likes of San Francisco Golf Club, Pasatiempo, Cypress, and Pebble Beach, or attend Dave Peltz's short game school in La Quinta, really, truth be told, to make it to the famous San Diego Zoo. Or rafting and camping in 1992 through the Grand Canyon, nursing me with a broken ulmer, but staying on the river, and with our original itinerary to fly out of Las Vegas so as not to miss the lions and tigers in the Siegfried and Roy show. As I have tried to convey, Dot Pollock is not only a Hall of Fame inductee for what she means to the game, but also for what she has meant to so many throughout her friendships, her unselfish service, and devotion to others. She is very bright, very capable, and very thoughtful and kind. Although a critical thinker, she never has a bad word or unkind thought about anyone. Her smile and compassion, Dot's integrity and inclusive manner embody everything that is so important to life and to the game of golf. How lucky are we to have this all-around Hall of Famer in our lives. Congratulations.
Boy, when I think about it all I can think of is what a good time I really had. It may sound like I worked hard, but I really had fun. Golf is such a wonderful sport. It really is. And you learn so much, not only about the game, but about yourself. And I think it was, for me, just an eye-opener all the time. Every time I went out there, I learned something new about me. And that was good. My parents, they both ended up playing. I played, as I started at 10 years old, picking up the game. Because I just like sports. I didn't really care what I played, I think. Football would have been fine, except nobody wanted me. But nevertheless, it's been a really wonderful experience, and I have all the love and compassion for New Jersey State Golf. I think that you have done a wonderful job, especially in recent years, of really putting the association on the map of golf associations and doing the best in the best interest of all golfers concerned. Congratulations. And I hope you continue, and I hope that I can continue to do whatever I can, wherever I can. And I thank you very, very much, and I thank my family for all my support over the years, because I couldn't have done this if I didn't have the support of my family. So thank you.
I don't know about you, but when I heard of all of the things that Dot has done, I have to revisit. I can't just squeeze in one more thing this week. I am so busy. Holy jumping. Congratulations on this wonderful honor and all you have done. Our final member of the class of 2024 is Bob Ross, who well knows his way around Baltusrol Golf Club, having served as PGA head professional for 20 years here. But there's more to Bob's story, as you will see in this video presentation.
Best known for his tenure as PGA head professional at Baltusrol Golf Club, a role he held from 1976 to 1996, Bob Ross is considered the consummate golf professional. Born in Vermont, Ross grew up in Connecticut and learned the game of golf as a caddy at Shinnecossett Golf and Country Club in Groton. Later, he enrolled at Pasadena City College in California, where he was coached by two-time PGA Championship winner Paul Runyon. After college, he was drafted into the U.S. Army and served in the 77th Special Forces Unit at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Before arriving at Baltusrol, Ross was first hired as an assistant at Shinnecossett before moving on to another assistant position in Amarillo, Texas. His first head golf professional job was at Susquehanna Valley Country Club in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania, where he served as the role of head professional and greenskeeper. Ross continued on to head professional jobs at Valley Country Club in Pennsylvania, North Hills in the suburbs of Philadelphia, the prestigious Philadelphia Cricket Club, and TPC Sawgrass before arriving at Baltusrol at 1976. Ross is respected for his career of devoted service to his membership, mentoring dozens of young golf professionals, a strong playing record, and for hosting multiple national championships and earning national recognition for his achievements. After the conclusion of his career at Baltusrol, Ross played a major role in the development of Hawk Point Golf Club in western New Jersey, where he was the director of golf after its opening in 2000. An accomplished player, Ross won the New Jersey Senior Open, the Pennsylvania Open, and the Philadelphia PGA Section Championship. He competed in 6 PGA and USGA championships, along with 8 PGA and USGA Senior Championships. When Baltusrol hosted the 1980 U.S. Open, Ross was the first professional to qualify for the event in 2 decades. In recognition of his achievements, Ross was inducted into the Philadelphia PGA Section Hall of Fame in 2000, the New Jersey PGA Section Hall of Fame in 2003, and was honored with the NJPGA NJSGA Distinguished Service Award in 2017. He's been an exemplary contributor to the game for nearly half a century.
As with Dot Pollock, we are pleased to have a number of Bob's friends and family members joining us tonight, including the person who will induct our 4th inductee. Please welcome Cindy Farrow.
Wow, what a great night. Having Bridget up here and Dot here, it really brings back a lot of memories of my time playing golf in the state of New Jersey from a young age. They were a big part of that, and it's just great. And I'd like to congratulate all the inductees. It's just a terrific thing. They're so deserving. It's always a pleasure to be back here at Baltusrol, a very special place where I spent a wonderful 30 years of my career, thanks to Bob Ross. I'm here to honor Bob and introduce him tonight, but I'd like to digress and confess that I am Bob's second choice to introduce him. Now, don't get me wrong, that is not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, Bob could have asked a zillion people, as most of you who know Bob know he knows at least a zillion people, and I'm humbled to be his second choice. A longtime buddy of Bob's, Larry Dornish, who is the retired director of golf at Muirfield Village, is heartbroken that he cannot be here because of health reasons. So Larry reached out to me, thank God, and said, you'll do great, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. Can I share some things with you? And I said, could you just write the speech for me? I'd be really happy. So I asked him if he'd like to chat. And he got back to me and he said, well, I get too emotional when I talk about Bob. And so I'd just rather write some things. And I said to myself, well, I know Larry and Bob have gone back a long way, but that really says a lot about them. So if you'll just bear with me for a moment, I want to talk, I'll read Larry's comments about one of his many learned lessons from working with Bob. One day in the locker room at the cricket club, I overheard Bob and Big Tom, our locker room man, having a great conversation about family. They were both fully engaged. They were the only 2 people, or that's how Bob made you feel. Tom started the day feeling good about himself. A little later, Bob was in the shop with an unhappy member whose 9-iron needed repair. Bob reassured him he would take care of it, and the member left feeling like Bob really cared and took his concern seriously. My point is, Bob talked to everyone the same way. He had a natural ability to make everyone feel they had his total attention and that he sincerely cared about them. This was not natural to a 17-year-old assistant pro, but I pledged to do my best from that day on. That's why I'm so proud about the notes I've gotten from the kitchen staff, my outside services team, and caddies as I've retired. I feel the lesson I learned that day has been a code to live by, and Bob taught by example. So Larry, we really miss having you here, are wishing for your improved health. So I had just finished my 8th year of playing the LPGA Tour without much to show for it. And after suffering a minor injury that season and finally realizing that my dream of playing the tour was needing to come to an end, I came back to New Jersey disappointed with my failure and wondering what's next. I spent the fall working at my family's business and then had an opportunity to go to Florida to figure out what I was going to do the rest of my life. A good friend and inductee, Ann Probert, had called me a few times and suggested that I would be good teaching golf. I'd be good at teaching golf. I, of course, told her she was crazy, and that had not even crossed my mind. Let me call Bob Ross at Baltusrol and see what's going on there, she would say to me over and over and over again. As the winter continued on, so did Ann's persistence, and finally I said, okay, call Bob Ross. So Bob reached out to me, and we met for breakfast in Florida, and we had a nice conversation, and Bob said he was going to talk to another person about the job, and he'd get back to me. Well, the rest is history for me, and Bob, thank you for inviting me to be on Team Ross. Bob's a people person. Everybody who knows him knows that. And I can always remember I had a client who was not a member who came for lessons, and sometimes she would stop in the shop before she came to see me. And every time she did that and she saw Bob, she'd come up to the lesson and say, you just can't believe this. I was just in the shop, and no sooner did I walk in the door, then there's Bob Ross. Hi, Liz, how are you? Great to see you. He's like calling me by name. I'm not even a member. He's treating me like I'm somebody special. How's your game? How's it going? What are you doing? And she was just so impressed. But those of you who know Bob know that that is Bob. He has an unbelievable zest for life, even now at 92 years of age. This is especially true when he is around the horse races, or the horses that he owns, or he's just talking about them. He's like a kid in a candy store. Over the years, I've often asked Bob how many horses he had. To this day, never got that answer. And I don't think I'm ever gonna get that answer. There was one thing that always threw me for a loop with Bob. Now, Bob, I know you thought I would just say everything nice about you, but this was really disturbing to me. Bob's a wing it kind of guy, you know? And so he goes from this side to that side in a flash. So there were many times when I was working for him that he'd come in the shop and say, okay, Cindy, let's go. We're going up to the range. We're going to go do a clinic for whatever group was in that day. And I'm like, I am not a wing it type of gal. So I was like, oh my God, I need to study what I want to do, prepare for it. You know, that was not my way. Needless to say, I got better at winging it as life went on. Bob's been a wonderful mentor and a sounding board for me over the years, as he has been for so many of his assistants. So many of them have moved on to greater accomplishments in this golf industry. I'm so grateful to have had Bob as my boss, a mentor, and a friend. I introduce you, Bob Ross.
turnout at a wonderful club, which I was very fortunate to be the professional for many years, and I think I still am. People come here, and I'm pretty good at remembering names and seeing faces. I might not remember all of you, but one of the things I did make is I once took a course at Dale Carnegie, and I was becoming president of the Philadelphia PGA, and I went to high school, School of Hard Knocks, and quit college and went in the service. But anyway, I went there, and they said, well, you got to have a beginning and an ending. So God bless all of you for putting up with this, because I don't know how it's going to begin and how it's going to end. But I'm starting. First of all, I would like to thank Kevin Vitale and the entire staff at this club. Because of you, and this club is renowned as a great, great club in this country. And I also want to say I never call it a golf club anymore. I think it's a golf institution. If you're around here, you'll know what I mean. I think that I would like to thank the officers, especially the New Jersey State Golf Association, all the board of trustees, and all the gentlemen and ladies, if there are any, who voted to put me in this great Hall of Fame association. I think this is what Dale Carnegie said, write it on the card and then throw it away. So I'd just like to thank you all here for attending this very special occasion honoring we inductees. And I would also tell you that I am humbled and honored to be included with Dot Pollock, Red Winder, who I happen to know both quite well. And your father was quite a gentleman. He was a hard worker, I know that. And we had a lot of nice conversations with the superintendent here, Joe Flaherty. But it was just great to know him, and to think that the New Jersey State Golf Association put him in as, I think, the first superintendent. Is that right, Rod? That's quite an honor. And they ought to be honored. They have the great superintendents they've had here at this club while I was here. Joe Flaherty, Mark Coons, and now Greg. And they're doing an unbelievable job. Just look out the window. While I am here, I would like to have you all meet my son, Brian Ross, and my lovely wife, Janet Taylor Ross. For 7 happy years, we are now married. We have been family and friends since 1952. I now have a larger family that needs golf lessons. And I'd like to introduce all of you. Would you all please stand? The family of the Taylors, the Foleys. I really want to, where's that photographer? There he is. Get their picture, because I don't want to see him. Oh boy. Needless to say, they're all interested in learning the game. And my rates went up since I've retired. I need the money. This recognition, I want to say, would never be possible if it weren't for the great assistant professionals I've had in my life in golf. There are, I know a couple of them. Most of them I never told of this honor. But I hear Mark Hartfield, the professional that Sankety Head is here, and George Dietz, the director of golf. I guess they're director of golfs now. The directors of golf at Fiddler's Elbow. Where are you two gentlemen? Are you here? Would you please stand? Now, they came to me and they were very young, ambitious, and I learned a lot from them. But I just saw them here, and I hadn't seen George or Mark in a while, and I remarked to him right away, God, your hair has changed color. But they were terrific, along with Doug Steffen and Gary Vanover were the first two assistants I hired when I came to Baltusrol. And Gary Vanover's job was to haul my golf memorabilia from Sawgrass to Baltusrol. So I said, Gary, you're going to drive this U-Haul truck up. I'm going to follow you in the car. And I gave him a handful of money, and Gary finally called me somewhere around Virginia or near Washington. He's driving a truck. Never drove a truck before. But he said, I can't go any further. I don't have any more money for tolls. That's a true story. And he still talks to me about it. But anyway, he was a University of Tennessee grad, played on the golf team there. And Doug Steffen, who was the first assistant here, it's pretty ironic because my brother introduced Doug Steffen to me, and I hired Doug. And it's funny because we both come from Susquehanna Valley, a 9-hole course in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. And I thought that was pretty funny. I never thought about that until I had to get up here and say something tonight. And I said, wait a minute. We came from the same little 9-hole course in Pennsylvania. So we must have learned something. Along the trip here to Baltusrol, I wanted to mention a couple things that were highlights while I was here. And they might not be important to people, but I save a lot of things. And I was looking through a couple things in my home in Ocala, and I found this letter, and it's from Larry Dornish, who was my assistant at the cricket club and went with me to Sawgrass when I left the cricket club. This was dated September 1995. Larry Dornish came to Baltusrol at the 100th centennial. We played golf. We had Duff Meyercord, the president of the club, Al Reed, the president of the club. The legend of the club was Mr. Larry Carpenter, and Duff had his son caddy for him. Scott Carpenter caddied for his father, and Al Reed's son, I wasn't sure. I think it might have been his son David, I think, but I'm not sure. But anyway, we all caddied. They all caddied. But the reason I want to read you this letter is I got to tell you a little trick about this. Larry Carpenter was a professional at Lost Tree. Jack was a member there. So Jack says, I'm going up to the Centennial. Barbara and I are coming up. And if you don't mind, why don't you caddy for me? So Larry says, oh, I'd love to, because I used to work for Bob, and anyway. So Larry came. He gets on the first tee. Now Larry, having been the professional, hadn't caddied in 15 years. So he gets on the first tee, and I went out to the tee, and I saw the big green and white bag, and I thought, well, I said to Jack, I said, hey, Jack, we want to pull a quickie on Larry. He's never caddied before. He's caddied a little bit, but he's not very good. And I want to surprise him. So we went, and I told Jack, we're going to surprise him, if you don't mind. Jack says, go right ahead. So we took the bag Jack put in the bag room downstairs, and we filled it with stone and bricks. We just put them on the bottom. So sure enough, we then put the bag, set it on the tee. We all started to get ready to tee off. And Jack hits it down the fairway, and I hit it down the fairway. We all hit off. We played a 5-some. We all hit off. Here's Larry. He can't move the bag. So he ended up having to take the straps out of the middle of the bag, dump the stone out. And Jack, of course, we had a pretty good laugh at that. But the reason I'm bringing Larry up a little bit is because he's just not doing very well health-wise. But he's been a wonderful golf professional for Jack Nicklaus, and he's worked for him for now 30 years. He just retired in November, and 6 months later he got some bad news from the health department. But anyway, this is a letter he wrote in '95 to me. He said, good playing. It was nice of you to let Jack get even. It sure was a great day. Well, we both shot 69 that day. We had a wonderful day and a wonderful time at the club. And I want to thank you all for listening to me. Thank you very much.
Well, what a wonderful evening we've had here, hearing wonderful stories, laughing, enjoying the game of golf that has given us so much over the years. And to honor these four and hear their accomplishments, well, they are well deserving of being called Hall of Famers. So congratulations to all. I hope I make it to 92. I hope I have my wits about me at 92 and can remember the details that Bob shared with us. Incredible, Bob. Thank you very much. I'm going to try to shoot your age this weekend. Is that okay? That's my goal. At any rate, on that note, we will wrap things up. I want to thank all of you for attending tonight and sharing your support of this game and the honorees. We still have beverages, dessert to be served, so we invite you to stay for just a little longer. We're going to ask the honorees or their representatives to step up. When the program is over here, we'll move the podium and we'll have photos, not just of yourself with the Hall of Fame plaque, but also your family members, anyone associated, affiliated with your clubs are welcome to join as well, so we all have a memento of this wonderful night. So again, congratulations to the four honorees. We hope to see you again next year when more will be inducted into this wonderful Hall of Fame. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Arrive home safely. Hit them straight.